We are recording. We are live. Welcome again to the Speak to Sell Yourself and Your Business show. This is your community. If you want to speak, get paid. If you want to grow your business with the power of your voice, if you want to become more confident, if you want to land speaking gigs, if you want to learn about marketing, business tips and tricks, business automation. Did I say marketing, planning, and everything else? Yes, business plans and so on. This is a community for you. It's not just me speaking or Herman every now and then. We are inviting not just guest speakers, we are inviting incredible professionals. And today we've got Ben Ivey. But Ben, before we actually do like the proper introduction and everything else, you know, you're going to rock the stage. We know it. Before we do that, I'm going to quickly in my own quickly way, obviously the Jose way, I'm going to share this, guys. And what I would like you all to do, can you all see the whiteboard?
Yeah.
Can you all see the whiteboard? Can you all see if you go to the upper bar, can you annotate? Have you got the opportunity, the option to do some annotations in there? Yeah. So is it working?
I'm new to Zoom. This is my first time, Jose. So yeah.
Okay, that's okay. And I'm loving the fact that it's your first time with me and with us. So let's just do it. Let's pop Zoom. So can you find it, Herman? Did you find it?
Yeah, I can see, but I cannot add anything.
Well, Eunice has already done it. Rashmi, can you show us? Because before Rashmi showed me, and I thought it would be quite cool to do this. So if you go to the upper bar, you have view options. Yeah, there we go. Then Ben is okay. So what we're going to do before, okay, I'm going to clear all the drawings.
I haven't finished my hello yet. Come on now.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
There we go. So I'm going to clear all the drawings again. What we're supposed to do, people, follow the instructions. What we're going to do, you do hello. We are going to draw our emotional state right now. So the question is, how are you? And instead of you telling me or telling each other how you are, you're going to draw your emotional state. Whatever that is. We're going to take just 1 minute to do this.
Can I choose a color? Oh, I can choose a color. Look at this.
Oh, I'm actually drawing under Khalifa here. That's fine. So this is me. Wow, Khalifa seems to be very happy. There we go. Oh, I just drew over my eyes and everything. That's my new fringe. Oh, look at Ben. Wow, that's sophisticated, brother. What's that? Loads of stars and hearts.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's an emotional state for you. You ask for one, that's what you receive, huh?
I love it. I love it. It's very abstract, and I guess I'm understanding it in the background. And who drew the big red face? That's a big happy face. I love it. Ben is happy. I don't know. I guess I wanted to represent happy, but then I feel like I'm on fire or being burnt or something like, I don't know. I really like that one with the hearts. Okay, fantastic, people. So, that gives us an idea. And Khalifa, so if I look at you, okay, is that happy? Is that happy? Is that kind of happy serious or happy geometrically happy? Beautiful stuff.
Geometrically happy.
Hi, so it's Haifa. Yeah, I tried to make that smile not in that shape, but I got confused which to use, but it was supposed to be not a V shape.
So it's like happy Haifa. Sorry, I mispronounced your name. It happens.
That's fine. But
I know we met before. Amazing. So happy faces, mainly happy faces today, and then loads of hearts and things like that. Okay, people. Woohoo! So I'm going to stop sharing the screen so we get to see our faces one more time. And let's do the proper introduction now. Today, on the Speak to Sell Yourself and Your Business show, we got the one and only, the King of Monte Cristo. I guess I wanted to say something else. It didn't come to mind, but Ben Ivey is the speaker we have got today on the Speak to Sell Yourself and Your Business show. He's the founder of Entrepreneur Lifestyle. I know Ben is an international speaker. He's a mentor, and he helps overwhelmed entrepreneurs. And I also know he speaks more than one language. He speaks Mandarin. He's conquering the Chinese market. He's done so many speaking gigs worldwide. And today we have him with us. What a privilege. And Ben is going to be helping us on how to find speaking gigs and get on international stages, not just because he wants to speak about it. It's just because he's doing it. He's the living example of making it happen. And we have got an incredible, have I said incredible opportunity? Yes, we've got Ben Ivey. So Ben Ivey is right here. I don't know whether on your screen it's just somewhere else, but if I go like that, yeah, can we see Ben Ivey? Yeah, and then like that, yeah, whoop, whoop. All right, there we go. Ben, the mic is yours. I think you can, if you want to share screen, you can share screen. And I'm just gonna go, yeah, speaker view. So we get to see you. Oh, in this case, we get to see Haifa for some reason. So what I'm going to do is pin Ben. And then if I pin you, then we see you. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to pass on the mic. And over to you, Ben Ivey.
Thank you very much.
Round of applause for Ben Ivey. Everyone watching this on replay, you will receive an email as well. If you receive the email and watching this, pay attention. This is going to be powerful. And then it's going to be available. So you can watch it over and over again. And right away, I'm going to tell you, get in touch with Ben. Even though you don't know what he's going to say, I know, I guarantee you it's going to be impactful. Ben, if you want a better introduction, you send me some money. Ciao.
Did my payment not go through? I thought I'd.
Well, it hasn't arrived yet, so
okay.
check the account. Check the accounts.
That's fine. Maybe next time. So, well, first of all, what a lovely introduction. I love the drawing that you guys did as well. I'm going to say I went from one abstract happy face there. I can't say it's the best one that I've ever done. Just to clarify, with regards to me doing this today, how long do you want me to go for before we go into a Q&A? There's lots of stuff I can chat about, but I want to make sure I respect the time.
Okay, brother. Look, let's aim for 30 minutes-ish. And then if people, are you happy with people asking you questions as we go, or do you want questions at the end?
I can go on a little rant. People can ask questions. You can always stop if you've got questions in between. I think it's important to make it interactive, even though we are doing it virtual. I know people will watch it in recording as well.
Fantastic, brother. Then over to you, and that's it. Let's make it happen. I'm sure I've got plenty of questions as well. So do you know how to unmute when it comes to Zoom?
No, evidently, no idea.
I'll ask the experts. Okay, brother, over to you. Take it away, Ben Ivey.
All right, fantastic. Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. I think it's important to get a little bit of an understanding and some background of what I do before I start sharing on this topic. So I'd like to just share a little story so you can get better of an understanding of what brought me on this journey and how I got to speak on a few different stages as Jose has mentioned. So if you had come back with me many years ago, you'd have found me getting ready to see one of my heroes. And just by a show of hands, or you do a little emoji, a little thumbs up, who's ever had a hero in their life? Just by a show of hands for the people on Zoom. Okay, I've got a few people there. All right, and if not, you can do an emoji. Look at you, Nish, you're on fire. Look at that. We've got thumbs, high fives as well. Brilliant. All right, we're making this interactive. We're going to have fun. I mean, it's on Zoom, but it's my first time. We'll give it a go. So I'm so glad that you've got that hero. So I want you to imagine you got an opportunity to meet this hero, and I was so excited. Right, I'm getting ready, and you're making yourself look good, just like I was with this. I'm getting ready. I'm getting myself all excited. And have you ever gotten ready and lost track of the time? Now, the people that say no, you lie about other things too, right? We've all done it. So I'm like, shit, man, I've got to get there. So I hop into my car and I start driving fast. Now, I'm not sure if any of you have ever been in China traffic, or you've been in any Asian country where it's like manic. I'm talking about, you see a driver and it's like, it doesn't matter if it's red, it's green, it's yellow. They just like fucking fly, right? So that was me. All right, I'm going to be honest, that was insane. So I was flying, I was going, I had to make it on time, right? So as I'm flying through, I finally get to this place in London, right? And I see a space. And then I see a Land Rover coming towards me, right? So I turn my indicator on. He also turns his indicator on, right? We're neck and neck. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, Ben, you're a nice guy. Do the right thing. It's his right of way. This wasn't one of those moments. So I fly into the space. And have you ever had it and had that experience where you just ignore as best you can, even though you feel this venomous look as a driver passes by you? So I'm there sitting innocently, very sweetly, as he passes by. And afterwards, I get out of my car, I've got a minute, I'm sweating, it's all going wrong. And I finally get to this door. Now, it's kind of, have any of you seen Harry Potter, just by show of hands? Any Harry Potter fans in the room? I've got Eunice just raising her hand the whole time. I just assume it's a little bit of Harry Potter, I'm not sure, but yeah, that's great, either way. So I finally arrive at this door, and it's absolutely huge, right? Just like Harry Potter, just like Hogwarts. I think I'm arriving in Hogwarts. I think, oh, this is my lucky day. It's fantastic. So I go in, I use both hands to open the door, and I finally arrive, and I search, and I see my hero. And I want you to imagine that you had 2 hours of uninterrupted time with the person that you admire most in the world, your hero. Yeah, how that would make you feel. And for me, it was just an amazing experience being able to connect and actually have that. But the very next day, something strange happened. What I didn't know is that that was going to be one of the last times that I would ever see that hero. The very next day, my hero committed suicide. And I had no idea. And if you had been with me a week later, you'd have found me sitting on a bench. And it was a beautiful blue sky outside. The sun was shining and the birds were chirping. But this was in complete contrast to what was going on inside of me and inside of my mind. Have you ever had a moment in your life where your hands didn't stop shaking? Why me? Why do I have to do this? And I remember looking out into a sea of faces, all of Mark's family and friends, hoping there was something that I could say that could make them feel better about this situation. We're all so fortunate to have known Mark. I want you to imagine that the person that you care most about in the world disappeared just like that. The truth is, Mark was more than just a hero to me. Mark was like family to me. Mark was family to me. Mark was actually my dad. And to think, it was just a week earlier where I saw him walk out of a toilet with toilet paper wrapped around his head, pretending to be the invisible man. I remember the laugh so loud that it would completely echo in a room. But this took me on a journey of self-discovery where I quit my business and I started to search as to what is it that really matters to people in life? Why is it that we do what we do? How is it that we create these parallel worlds, one which people see, and underneath what's really going on? So on that journey, one of my first steps was actually going out to China. And when I was there, I decided that I wanted to connect with some different people to really understand what's going on in our lives. And maybe for yourself, you've had a time in your life where you just had no idea what to do. You decided to do something different. And you decided to venture out. And that was my first time when I intentionally went out to China for a longer period of time. And I ended up staying with this master NLP practitioner. I started working with him, teaching him, and it ends up that I'm helping this dude, right? And I thought he was going to help me. So it's crazy stories. But what I started to realize is the power of having a network and having someone to connect with. Now, as the years went by, I started to speak on more and more stages. I started to do this routine of flying to China. I started to fly to Los Angeles, to the UK, and I started to basically speak and to search on all these different topics to do with fulfillment and happiness. Now, years later, I then started to work with specifically entrepreneurs who were feeling overwhelmed, who were stressed out. And then in 2016, I started to certify people to do what I do. I had a guy come up to me, his name was Mark, also the name of my dad. And I thought this is a bit of synchronicity. And he says, Ben, can you teach me? And I said, no. and the reason why I said no, so I was like, do you have any idea how many years that I've done this, right? Like, there's just no way. Like, it would just take so long for me to teach you, to make you great. I don't just want to have like any other coaches or speakers. Like I want you to be great at what you do. So I said, give me a few months. Let me just get my head sorted. And I decided to take him on. So I took him on for 12 months, and then I've certified people from all over the world since to give them great coaching and speaking skills so they could do what I do, but ultimately have a bigger impact. Now, then as I'm starting to speak on all these international stages, COVID hits, right? Now, suddenly, oh, hey, look, that business isn't great anymore because I used to completely run my business through speaking. And got to be honest, I'm hilarious on stage. I'm great on Zoom, but I'm hilarious on stage because I can walk about. Now, I'm going to be honest, the first time I did it on Zoom, I started to get really into it and I started to walk and anchor the stage. But what happens is suddenly the sound goes, right? And it was hilarious because I had no idea. And suddenly I'm like walking off, I'm off camera, I'm going over here, I'm trying to anchor. Honestly, it's hilarious. So now I've gotten better. I have to keep my feet straight in one place and I can move a little bit, but not too far away from the mic. So as I started to kind of revamp what I did, I realized there was a lot of different things and opportunities to be able to expand. And now everything's online. I've got my trainers that work for me and I've built things up in a really sustainable way. However, when we look into the topic of today, it's about how do you speak on these international stages. And since then, I've done TED Talks in Chinese. I've spoken to Coca-Cola, HSBC. I've worked with senior leadership teams. I've also got burnt incredibly badly because I didn't have the right contracts in place. I mean, honestly, I will go into some stories like that. It's like, honestly horrendous. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that there's a variety of different ways to build up your speaking business. And you're probably here because you're looking for some different tools and ways to expand your impact. So as someone who's kind of been there, done that through the other side, I understand there's a lot of ways to build a business up, both online and in person. So I just wanted to dive basically into a few different things that I've learned on my journey that I found are incredibly important in order for you to, number one, get on an international stage, because I think that's incredibly important. Like, how do you expand kind of what you're doing so that you can do that? And then ultimately, how do you make an income from it? Because it's all good and well being on an international stage, but I know lots of people that are coaches that make no money, that are speakers that don't make no money either. And at the end of the day, you can speak to give back, and that's fantastic. I do that too. But if you're going to look to it as a business, there's a different way to go about it. So let's take a step back and we'll go to the beginning of my journey when I first went to China. So when I first went, I threw myself in there and I said, I'm just going to make this happen. I'm going to give it a go. So the way I first started was through doing free events. Now, most people will say, build an email list, build up your online following, then do your first event. I did it completely the opposite way around. What I found is that if you do the opposite of what most people do, sometimes you get great results. Now, the first few events I did, I'm going to be honest, weren't that great. I'm going to be honest, about 80% of the people didn't even speak English. So I'm there and I'm chatting and these guys haven't got a clue. And at this point, my Chinese isn't very good. So I'm thinking no one understood. I say, raise my hand and people are like this. They literally no idea, right? So I'm thinking, okay, this probably isn't the best audience, but I attempt to do everything at the time. And I think something that I learned very early on is you don't need to reinvent the wheel. There are people out there that have great connections. So one of the best things that you can do is connect with the right people who have connections. I'm going to come back to this time and time again, connections, but I'm going to give you a new word and it's called guanxi. Now, guanxi is what they use in China as relationships. Okay, so you're building guanxi, you're building relationships with people. Now, the reason why I say that's important is when you go to a place like China, and it's very different, not many people have been, there's a big focus on supporting each other, but long-term foundation. And everyone is willing to support you and help you give you a lift up. So when you're looking into building up your speaking gigs, one of the most important things is to understand that you need to connect with the right people. So when I first started, I saw that there was lots of different organizers running different events and they were hosting it, they were having fun, and they were doing these different things. The most important thing to do is to become their best friend. You want to basically connect with the right type of people. And it's important that you start to build up that profile as you are building up through life. So there's different stages, obviously, of a speaking business. And when you're first getting started, you want to speak on every single stage as many times as possible to build up your profile. Now, once you get to a certain level where you've got a bit of credibility and a bit of authority, I then challenge you to start to connect with bigger organizers and once again, start to look into collaborations and doing events with people, because suddenly you're building up your profile. And a lot of this is about that network so that you start to become aware of opportunities. So let me give a specific example so you can understand how this works. So something that I've always wanted to do was a TED Talk, right? I speak on different Clubhouse topics on TED Talks, and very often their story is completely different to mine. I've never applied. I've never even gone on the TED website to apply. I've got no idea what that application looks like. I've got no idea about most of the event organizers. However, I built a good network. Now, why is this important? Because when you have a good network, you often leapfrog other people in the process. So I started helping a lot of people with their public speaking in TED Talks because I knew someone that was doing it and I wanted to help out. So I started to help that out and I started to do that. And then I had an opportunity where someone dropped out. So they dropped out and they said, look, Ben, 2 weeks, can you come and do this? And I said, yes, I'm in. Right? So what was there? There was an opportunity. So I get myself ready 2 weeks. I'm sure you've had this, right? It's an opportunity. You're really excited. You're like, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. So it gets to the day before. I've learned this in Chinese and I'm so excited. Okay. I wake up the next day and I get a text. And the text is the government has canceled all TED Talks. All TED Talks for this weekend. There was 3 of them going on in China. They're all canceled. Nothing anyone can do. It's done. And when something like that happens and you get an opportunity, sometimes it's easy to go, oh, this wasn't right for me. You've attempted to do lots of things and it just hasn't worked. And maybe you can relate to this where you've attempted to reach out to someone, they haven't replied, or you're tried a program, it's not working. You've given it a go and it just didn't work for you. And I remember speaking to my other half at the time, she's now my partner, and I said, what do I do? And she said, maybe this is an opportunity. Maybe, it wasn't the right talk for you. Maybe there's a better talk that you can give. Now, 2 years later, once again, I kept consistent. I had another opportunity and I said, look, I want to do a TED Talk. I'm ready. And I want to do it in Chinese. And the organizer says, nah. She goes, I don't think that's the best idea. And I said, no, I think I got it. And she goes, I'm not sure you do, Ben, right? And once again, this is about your belief in yourself. So if you want to speak on stages and you want to be confident, you have to be your biggest believer. Now, the reason why I say that is the biggest thing that's going to stop you is inaction. It's self-doubt. Now, you've probably attended a lot of different speakers with Jose because he's absolutely fantastic as his bro. And I'm sure you've attended a lot of these. And you're thinking, how can they do it? How can I not do it? And something that I've noticed is no matter who I speak to, if they can do it, so can I. Why not? And you give yourself that challenge. So I said, I'm going to do it. And she goes, okay, we'll give it a go. And if you can be fun, and I used a lot of humor because I think that's fantastic to break the surface, then you can get those opportunities. So basically, over the course of 3 months, I focused in on making this TED Talk in Chinese, sorting it out. And it was the first talk I ever did in Chinese. And I did it on a TED Talk stage. Now, you can go check that out. It's hilarious. I also forgot what I was saying halfway through, but that's for another topic, right? So the reason why that's important is because it gives you an opportunity. So what do you take from that? It's building the right connections. Now, I love that little face there. Now, on top of that, what is important is being able to record and get photos and build speaker reels. Now, why do I say this? Because as you start to build up your speaking business and you want to build up collaborations, people will ask, have you spoken before? Do you have a video? Do you have any testimonials? Something that I did very early on, and I said, I want to get a photo no matter where I am. Like, get something in the audience, talk to someone, get photos, get videos as best you can. And then you can put together different speaker reels. I think I've got the speaker reel that I first did. It's genuinely not great looking back. Because I know I edited it, and let's be honest, I'm not a good editor. I'm also not a good drawer, as you can tell, because my face was practically hieroglyphics. So when we look at building this up sustainably, it's incredibly important to have those assets. So if you build the right assets, what's going to happen is it gives you those opportunities. So when you speak to someone and you do your outreach, you can have your one-page speaker sheets. Now you can have your 2 and 3 pages. There's different elements there, but you want to have the most important thing is speaker topics. So the topics that you speak on. The biggest mistake I made early on is that I spoke on everything. And I'm not sure if there's a mistake or a learning opportunity, but I spoke about relationships. I spoke about success. I spoke about fulfillment, leadership, you name it. I've spoken about it. Why? Because there was lots of opportunities to. And what was great for me is that it helped me work out what I really enjoyed speaking about as I first got started. Now, I had a great opportunity because in China, it was very new. So what happens is I had a lot of opportunities to speak about topics on stages because I was confident and I knew what I was speaking about in those different levels. Now, when we look into more mature stages internationally, unless you can show you're an authority, it's actually a little bit more challenging to get on those stages. So this is where, when we look into those opportunities to speak, you may not have the exact opportunities I have, but what there are lots of other ways to do it. So this is where, for example, we've got Clubhouse, a great audio app, right? That's how Jose and I met, right? So you want to be able to leverage the platforms that are available and connect with the right people. But I can't tell you how important it is to build the connections. So as an example, so that I gave the example of a TED Talk. Let me explain another example of how, and this is a hilarious story. Okay, so I'm in China and I go to an Airbnb. I'm there for 10 days and I see he's got a trampoline on the balcony. So I'm already excited, right? I'm excited. Wow, this is fantastic. I can do some rebounding. I've actually got a trampoline just down there. So I really enjoy the trampoline. So I'm jumping up and down and I start to speak to him. Now, you never know where opportunities to speak will arise from. Very often we just say it's the organizer, it's that person. However, you never know what conversations can spark. So I know I'm running an event. And what's great is when you just say, I'm going to run an event and you're going to make it happen. Because what happens is you can invite people to it. My first event in China, I did for 5 people. 3 of them were friends. 2 of them paid about 80 quid. And there's 5 of us in a room. I've actually got the different images of like all the different events that I've done. And it's hilarious. It goes from like 5 people in a tiny cramped little room. It was a free space that I managed to get because I did some speaking stuff. And then the next one was also similar, also about 5 or 6 people. And then it obviously builds up through time. So what's fascinating is that it's a journey. You can look at someone's square 50, and that's not going to be the same as where you are as if you're starting out and you're on square 3 or 4. So it's about making that next step. And I see a lot of speakers going, I wish I was Tony Robbins. I wish I was this. When you've done 3 decades of speaking nonstop full time, yeah, maybe you'll be there. But when you're just getting started, hey, just go on a few stages and build it up through time. It's okay. So as you're starting to build it up, it's important that obviously you keep that in your mind and you move things forward sustainably so you know where to focus. So I'm in this Airbnb and I start talking to this guy about what I do. I say, yeah, I've got an event. I'd love for you to come along. Okay. Now, what's great about this is invitations. If you want to start to build up and get on more international stages, if you have your own stage, it's great for people to speak. So for example, Jose has got a stage and he invites people to speak on it. That's one of the best ways to build it up, whether you have a podcast, whether you have something, because what it does is it creates win-win opportunities. If you want to be successful in anything in life, let other people win first, then you win. Because by doing that, what you're doing is you're putting deposits in other people's accounts. So I was staying with him. I said, look, come for free. You can pay a little bit. It's all good. Just pay for the materials. Come along. I think you'll have a great time. So he comes and he brings a friend. And I said, yeah, his friend can come for half price. Now he has the amazing time. And he says, look, Ben, I really, really enjoyed it. I think my team would enjoy this as well. So I was like, all right, well, what do you do? And he ends up working for a very large company out in China. And I then get an opportunity to speak to their HR, right? So you can imagine this. I don't have a business in China at this point. I'm making shit up as I go along. I genuinely have no idea. And the rereason why I'm saying that is that it's very often you see people and you think, oh, they've got it all together. They know what they're doing. I'm telling you now, I just think it's important to share the story. So they've got these things in China called mobikes. And I'm not sure if you guys see them, but similar to the Santander bikes we have here, but just like really, really shit. So I'm on this little thing and I'm cycling through China. I've got people beeping me and I'm looking great. I'm trying to find this place and I arrive. I've got no idea what I'm talking about. I arrive at the door and I'm thinking, they send me up to like the 50th floor. I go out and I'm speaking to this HR. I've never spoken to HR. I've never really done these corporate events before. I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing? So I arrive, and once again, this is an opportunity and you've got to take it and you've got to do something with it. So I sit down and they say, oh, we've got this senior leadership, blah, blah, blah. And we start talking. Now, this is where negotiation comes into play, and you want to be able to have an opportunity. Now, the reason why I say that is you can make money later. When you're first getting started, it's important to have opportunities. So I said, do you have a budget? What is it that you want to do? And I said, usually I do it for, I think it was 40,000 RMB. Let's do it for 20,000. It's like 2K for 2 days. Okay. So just giving it a go. You also don't want to underprice yourself. Now, the reason why I say that is that if you underprice yourself and you don't have a price, then people don't see the value that you give. So you want to make sure that you find that in between. So you go with the intention and you understand, I already have this pricing in place. Like, this is what I want to do in order to move forward. So as I was having the conversation with them, we decided, right, we're going to do 2 days events here, 2 days events there. And we did it. It was fantastic. I invited other people. Once again, it's another great opportunity. Now, there's one more example that I want to give. When you are building up your list of speakers and people to connect with, one of the best things to do is to see where other speakers speak. Because if other speakers are ahead of you, even if they're just on square 10, they've already gone square 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So if you, for example, want to speak on the Yes Group stage, like Yes Group London, that's an example. So it's quite a nice stage. It's fun. They've got a great group of people. How do you do that? You want to find the right connections. If you want to speak in other ones, you find the organizer, have a conversation with them. Now, I always recommend, if possible, in person. I realize that's more challenging now, but it's much better to get on a phone call, see how you can give to them first, because as soon as you say, how can I promote your event? I think what you're doing is fantastic. I want to share it with my list. Could I do an interview with you? Guess what? They're going to say yes. And now at the end of that, they say, well, what do you want to do? I'd love to be able to speak on your stage if there's a topic that would be relevant. What are you doing? You're creating those win-win opportunities. So with regards to that, I had an opportunity to speak to some coaches out in China. So I went to the event, and something that I find is incredibly important, and this is something that I really focus on, is being remarkable. When I do an event, I want to make sure that people remember me. Like they're like, holy shit, that was awesome. So what's incredibly important is to prepare. Now, if I'm honest, I didn't prepare for this as much as I wanted to, because I want to just have an authentic conversation. And the reason why I say that is that it's different when we're on Zoom than if you were to go to a stage. Here, it's sometimes nice to have that personal aspect. And I've spoken about this enough to kind of understand where I'm moving. And when I first started, I didn't have a bloody clue. So I prepared loads and I practiced. And something that was important is for me to make it interactive. So you have those exercises with people. So by doing that, what you do is you create those magic moments. So if you can create magic moments in your talk where people remember that, what happens is the organizer will remember you. So as an example, I do this talk, I'm having a laugh, I'm making it interactive, and I'm genuinely giving like the best of the best that I possibly could. And people say, oh, you shouldn't give the best of the best. Screw that, give the best of the best. Because if you give the best and people come for free, they will pay for more of it. Fact. So I'm speaking, and the organizer comes up to me and she says, Ben, do you do keynote speeches? And I go, absolutely. Because you know what? Why not? Well, I can do keynote speeches. To hell with it. And why do I say that? Say yes, figure it out later when you're speaking. I mean, it's just important, right? So she says, do you do that? I said, absolutely. Have you worked with senior teams? Absolutely, I have. Right. Could you do a talk? And do you have any materials? Now, this is where materials are important. Okay. So I sent her some videos and some images of me speaking on stages. And I said, I'm more than happy to work it out. And I can build it and build it up for you. She says, okay, we'll have a chat with the organizer. We'll speak to them and we'll see how it goes. So once again, what's very important is that you don't come with a prerequisite of what you believe they want, but that you are tailored to what they're saying. So he says, look, Ben, I want us to be able to go out with a bang, keep it simple, but I need someone with loads of energy to be able to have people ready because they're corporate, they won't want to interact. So we need something that can ease them into the games. So what you want to do is be able to create something like that. And hopefully through the experiences that you've had, you've built up that portfolio through time. So what's fantastic is that by having an opportunity like that, and I flew out from China, from the UK to China, did the keynote and then flew back. It was hilarious. But being able to do something like that is really cool. So I genuinely recommend, go on my YouTube. All of this is documented. And the reason why I did that is that it's quite fun to look back, but it also gives you an understanding of genuinely what it's like to prepare for a talk. How do you do it? What are the steps that you take? And I don't want to take you through that now, but you can check that out later. It's all free. It's all online. So you can check that out as an example of some of the things that we've done. So I know I've gone through a few stories and examples, and the reason why I have is that I think it's important to not look for a tactic, but to understand the overall strategy behind so that you can actually move things forward sustainably as you are building up those international speaking gigs. So with that said, a few points that I want to relay back to you to make sure you've understood. So the first thing is about building that guanxi, the relationships. If you can build relationships, once again, with the right people, it'll be absolutely game-changing for you. So you want to build that guanxi. Next, be remarkable. When someone invites you to a stage, I want you to imagine you're in front of the freaking queen. You know what I mean? Like you turn up, you're prepared, and you are ready to rock and roll. Because if you do that, suddenly the impact that you have will be incredible. If you can go above and beyond what the organizer expects, stay late, stay early, do whatever you can to really overgive, people will recognize that. Something that I haven't said that I do want to bring attention to is about follow-up. It's no point just following up with an organizer when you want to speak. It may be worth in 6 months, a year, reconnecting with them. So for example, I haven't been to China in 2 years. I'm still reconnecting with the different event organizer out there to understand what they're doing. Hey, have you got any events on? How's it going? Is there anything that I can do to support you? What am I doing? I'm looking for a win. Have them win first. Capitals, big win. I put this on. Big win, then you win, right? Have them win first. It's incredibly important. Next, speak for free and get on as many stages. If you are thinking of where do I speak, look where other people are speaking and find out who the event organizers are for it. I can't tell you how important it is to focus on the event organizers. I see too many people applying passively to all these different things. You have to build connections. Like, it's just the way to do it. Because then when someone's seen you speak, then they can introduce you as well. So you want to build those connections, and also with the speakers. If you can understand who those speakers are, when you're in square 5 and you want to go to square 10 and you understand the people that are there, just build connections with them. It's one of the best ways, as I mentioned, that I lived with that master NLP practitioner in China. I got introduced to these different circles. The same with you. I know it's difficult virtually. I understand that. However, you can see where people spend their time. You can build connections, but what's most important is allow them to win first and then you to win after. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to allow you guys to ask some questions and things like that, because I know I'm going to get a little bit of a rant. So I will pass the mic. I can't lift this up, but I'm going to pass it back to you, Jose. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, people, first of all, I want you to give Ben a round of applause. Come on, let's do this. Round of applause. Ben Ivey, the maestro, the legenda, I don't know. I called you the king of Monte Cristo. I don't know where that came from, but
I've always wanted to be a king. I've also always wanted to be a lord as well. I'm going to get a bit of land that says Lord Ben Ivey. I just think that's
Lord
cool.
Ben
Even if it's a
Ivey,
little square meter, that's fine.
So even if and are we going to take you up to Sir Ben Ivey at some point?
At some point, I don't see why not. I mean, yeah, I mean, either way, it's all just a title, isn't it?
I mean, your strategy is just like, yes. I mean, say yes and say yes. You know what, brother? I mean, what a fantastic session. And your delivery, everything, it's so much fun. But it's not just fun for the sake of it. Fun, engaging, and interesting. So many great points. It is a treat to have you on stage with us today. There was something that came to mind. Well, so many things. I don't know, before I ask questions, people in the audience, you have any questions for Ben? All the different things he shared today, anything when it comes to speaking, putting yourself out there, because he just not only share how to go and speak,
That's
but everything. Yeah, it is. Are you very thirsty, or are you just on some special?
I'm going to be honest. So, I think this is important. So usually when I do these talks, I have a little glass that I've got. I actually have it here. There we go. So I have this little glass and I look really professional. But I decided today, since I'm being authentic, I'm going to just show you guys the reality. I've got a big fat water bottle. I like to track it. It's just something that I do. Why not? You know what I mean?
That's it. Why not? And why not? And it's that level of confidence as well. The why not? They say yes. I mean, you have no idea how much I can relate to that since I started. And even, you know, when I speak with the accent and when I speak about people speaking with accents as well on stages and things, it's just like, yeah, say yes. And I love it. You will work it out. That is one of the biggest takeaway for me and a reminder as well. Well, I'm going to pass before. I've got a couple of questions, as I said, but Herman, probably want to ask a question. I see you unmuted yourself. Over to you, good friend. And
well,
brother.
yeah, I'm brother and my friend and buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Ben, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. I really had fun. And you've got that how do you say authenticity. I'm mixing here words. And I really love the fact that you say yes to everything, because sometimes it's one of the things that I talk to Jose. Sometimes I struggle to say that final yes, because I start wondering and yeah, like thinking in problem based. So basically I'm looking for the different things that I will need to do in order to deliver the best out of me. But in the end, I think I always do the same. So basically I always work to give the best out of me into my field. For example, my field is video editing. So exactly, it's like I just struggle with all the problems that come to mind. It's not problems. It's like I make a list. It's like, okay, for this I will need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. And that list keeps on growing. And then that's what makes me struggle to say yes and just to jump into the thing. And yeah, one of my takeaways is as well, say yes and just smile to the thing as you did. It's like, have you spoken about this? Yes. Not yet, but yes. and you just show, and you put yourself out there. I like that. I really like that.
I love that. Ben, quick question related to what Herman shared as well. I mean, well, this is an NLP question, but what happens right before you say yes, brother? What happens with you?
Cool. Well, I think it's important to add a little bit of context, because what is important is it's not about saying yes to everything. And the reason why I say that is that there's a lot of opportunities nowadays. We're in this information overload. So there's loads of things that are happening. So it's important to say no. But when it comes to an opportunity that is a challenge and someone is asking you a question, they're saying, have you done a keynote before? I would say, yes, I have, because I treat some of these things as keynote presentations. So it's not that I'm saying it from a place that is inauthentic, that isn't true. And have you spoken about leadership? I have. Whether you've spoken about to one person or 20 people, the most important thing is that understanding that you will over deliver if you're put into that pressure. Just how diamonds are created is through that pressure, similar to yourself. So when we look into that prerequisite just beforehand, you're probably feeling nervous, right? A great analogy that I heard someone sharing, which I find is fantastic, is when you're experiencing those nerves, right? It's as if there's butterflies in your stomach and they're clapping, ready to go, right? It's an opportunity for you to do something different. It's that reframe. What's also important is the questions that we ask ourselves, especially as Herman was saying, about sometimes we create these lists and we look at all the problems and we look at all those different elements. What's happening is our brain is going into survival and we're looking to create the best, the perfect. And once again, I may be wrong, but when we do video editing, you want it to be perfect, right? Because it needs to be a video. You need to get it right. You can't have those little errors. The challenge is, and this is a challenge that I see for a lot of people, we want it to be great and we come with the best intentions, but by focusing on the best, the perfect, and attempting to make it the best we possibly can, it actually trips us up because we get in this analysis paralysis, which is why I say, if you force yourself to give yourself that challenge, you're going to figure it out. I mean, I said I was going to do a TED Talk in Chinese. If you showed me the list of stuff I'd have to do, I'd be like, nah, mate, you've got to be kidding me. Like, it was absolutely insane. So much time. However, by saying yes, you're forcing yourself to grow, to do something different. And just on that, something that I've always done that I found is very effective is setting mini challenges. I do this physically, I do this in my business, I do this personally, but setting these little challenges, because what it does is it helps you stretch yourself. And it's through that stretching that you become a better speaker, that you become a better presenter, a better person, a better businessman, whatever that is, by stretching. So this is why I'm a huge fan of, whether you're getting coaching or you're connecting with Jose and they're taking on a course, whatever that is, it's really important that you're stretching yourself and gaining those perspectives, because what it does is it allows you to take more on. So now if someone throws me in the deep end and they say, Ben, you've got to give a presentation to like 100 people today in an hour, I'll be like, cool, it's not in Chinese, I'm good, because it adds that perspective, right? Brilliant. Back to you.
There we go. So Herman,
yeah, I like it. And I take it like, for example, my analogy would be here, like, I don't know, like, have you done any music videos? And I would say, I mean, I haven't done, but am I capable of doing one? Why not? I've got all the knowledge. So that would be the kind of challenge that you mentioned in there.
Also, listen to what Ben said in a way as well. You might have done things that are very similar as well. You may have done, even for myself, some tiny videos that were in a way music clips as well. So what I took away from what Ben said is just some of the things you've already done that you could benefit from or draw in resources from in order to go say yes and make it happen. There's going to be the stretch, which, is what's going to make you feel uncomfortable. Ben, you were going to say something as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you imagine it being an overlap. So for example, just using your example, you've done, they asking for music videos, you usually do videos. Now, I'm sure you do videos with music. Right now, I know it's not a music video. I get that. And I know we're laughing. However, it's a small detail, right? Oh, careful on the mic. There's a little bit of an overlap, right? Now, the reason why I say that is, okay, if someone were to pay you, would you do your best? Do you think you can do a great job? And this is about understanding the value that you bring. And I think this is where a lot of people fall short, no matter what they're doing. If you are 100% sure that you can over deliver value, then you can say yes, because you know you're going to do what it takes, even though you haven't figured it out at the moment. I just wanted to add that on.
Beautiful. And I think it also helps, Herman, to see what you've done in the past and what Ben mentioned. I mean, I'm sure when you look at his first show reel, we're probably going to laugh. I mean, not laugh, but we'll see. No,
you're going to laugh.
Well, they will probably laugh and we'll probably cry. But once you compare it to the ones he's done today, but there's been an evolution. So you can always reconnect. Look at my progress. Look at the progress I made in the last year. And I know in your case, it's been huge. So then that can give you the tools and the energy and the mindset and the resources to then think, and the quality of the questions that Ben mentioned, in order to start, developing what you want to have happen with that thing you say yes to, or that you could potentially be saying yes to. Incredible stuff. Ben, well, anything else, Herman?
No, well, the other one thing was, how did you get
Ben, you just charge him now. I mean, that's 2 questions already, I think.
No, I usually do a maximum of 3, so he's still good. He's still good.
He's still good. Okay.
Related. I mean, you're always going to get an extra.
Now, this one is quick. It's about, how did you get to move from, well, I guess you were based in the UK, you were born in the UK, and then you go to China. Cool. How that happened? When did you decide just to go to China? Because
that's a great question.
Where opportunities?
So, when we look into doing speaking internationally, it's great to immerse yourself in the environment. So something that worked well for me is that I decided I wanted to go out there. Obviously, when everything happened with my dad, I wanted to do something different. I'd always wanted to go out to China. I speak very, very basic Chinese. So I thought I'd give it a go. So if you imagine, and this is a question that I often pose to people, is if you could speak anywhere in the world, if there's one place you've always wanted to go, what would that place be? And just mark it on the map and then go there. Right? Attend a couple of talks, but what you're doing is you're immersing yourself in the environment. So for me, China was a great step to be able to learn the language, immerse myself. And also it was a great opportunity, as it turned out, to be able to find a way into the market, because it's very challenging if you've never been there, because they don't do the same social media. Most of the stuff is blogs. Like if you don't have those connections, it's very challenging. Once I built that up through time, and once again, time is an element here that I speak about, it's easier to do. So I think the most important thing is just giving it a go, attempting to go there. And then once again, you get feedback. But there's been loads of failures on the way. There's been loads of successes. But the important thing, and hopefully I've given a better end of both, is understanding how to maintain that momentum. And ultimately, it's that belief in yourself to keep going. Because I see people time and time again who speak and then don't speak anymore, or do this and then do something else. If you can stay consistent, suddenly you'll rise above and beyond everyone else.
Boom.
I like it.
I was about to drop my mic, but then
I was going to
have to pick it up.
I don't really want to.
I think I'm gonna get like
a fake mic.
Go like that, fake mic, and then I just so that whatever. That's the sound when the mic hit the ground.
Nice.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful sound.
Thank you very much, Ben.
Yeah. Haifa, absolutely. Okay. Please. Yeah. Over to you.
Yeah, Ben. Thank you. This was a great session. So you started with a story, and I realized that the story had some kind of a humor and also sadness, right? So my question is, like, when you want to address your audience with a story, like, when do you use humor? When do you use like tragic, or how do you know if you're going to use it in the right place or not? Right? When you like, I'm talking from a business perspective, like if you want to sell something. So how do you know that?
Okay, so once again, there's a lot of prerequisites when it comes to context. Let me give you a better understanding for myself, and then maybe you can get some insights and you can ask some follow-up questions. The reason why I do the humor and then the sadness, and I do that, is because people won't remember what you say, but they will remember how you made them feel. So what's incredibly important is to take people on what I call emotional roller coasters, because by doing that, what happens is they are taken to different states and you're changing their state. So what's happening is they are on that path with you and they feel like they're with you. When we look into buying decisions, people will like make the decision emotionally, but will back it up with logic. So by taking people on an emotional roller coaster, it's why stories are so powerful for brands, is they buy into the story. There's an emotional connection there. They connect with whatever it is that you're sharing. And then if, for example, I was selling something and I would give some examples, or there was entrepreneurs here, and I'd say, look at him, he was overwhelmed, and now he's doubled his productivity, 30% growth in all his businesses. Suddenly I'm showing you what's possible. So what's important, especially when we look into speaking, there's a few different layers to that. So we've got stories. And we can look in the emotional roller coaster. And there's different stages that you can take people through. So that was just a simple stage. And the reason why I did it was to, once again, have people understand where I've been, but also to connect with me. Because otherwise people won't listen to you unless they understand why, they understand the element behind what you're doing. So Haifa, my question is, I know that you're asking when do you do it and what's affected. There's obviously different moments within a presentation. What's the question behind the question? Like, what specific outcome are you looking for from the question that you asked?
The specific outcome is that I want to know, how do I connect with the, when I meet with a customer, I want to use a story that really touches the emotions,
Cool.
the mental, the wallet
Okay.
in the end, so you want
Okay.
all those three things there.
Okay. Just briefly, what is it that you do?
I'm a business manager at a company called Tata Consultancy Services. So, and mostly now I'm going to be joining the business development team, and we meet with a lot of customers.
Okay, cool. So
yeah.
Got it. This is a slightly different question, but what we're doing is we're understanding the client. If you want to influence someone, you need to be able to speak to them so they think, wow, this person is literally speaking to me. Okay. So for example, when I speak to entrepreneurs, and you, if you watch some of my recent videos on YouTube, I'll speak directly to them. So I say, look, you're probably an entrepreneur who's very tech savvy, right? So I go speak to Herman, right? So you love doing your video editing, you're great, you love having things that are perfect, but you probably struggle with a bit of analysis paralysis. You sometimes find you're overwhelmed, there's too much to take on, and you find that you can't let go of control because you want to make sure everything's perfect. You know you're stagnating your business, but it's very difficult for you to take that step out because sometimes you doubt yourself, you don't feel like you've got everything in place. And what you want to do is to be able to do it sustainably because you want that consistent business growth for yourself, for your family, so that you can really support yourself moving forward, and you just can't figure out what to do. Now, when I say something like that, suddenly this person's like, you'll see, but like, okay, like, cool. Like this guy kind of gets me, right? So what's important is that you relay back. So let's say I'm doing a one-on-one with with one of your customers. I'll speak and I say, does that resonate? Yes or no? Is there any truth in what I'm saying? If they say yes, you're on the right line. If not, or they are unsure, say, okay, well, what's missing about that? And then the aim is to match exactly what they're looking for and to phrase your product in a way that it acts as the best solution in order for them to solve their problems. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does make sense.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Anything you want clarified, or does that sum up?
I just wanted to apologize that I don't have my camera. I find it really rude and difficult to communicate with someone without the camera, but it's only because almost 12 a.m. in Auckland, New Zealand.
You do not need to apologize. No one would want to see me at 12 either, believe me. So we're all good.
Yeah, but it was worth the stay. So I did want to attend this because the title just grabbed my attention, and I hope you're open to connect, if that's okay with you.
No, of course, I'm open to connect. All good. Just drop me a message. Yeah, you can find me online. Ping me a message. It's all good.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Amazing, Haifa. Well done, you, for sticking around so late to look at this bunch of people, especially listen to the one and only Ben Ivey, who we've had today. And one thing I would, it is a pleasure. And this show is for you, and we're open. Well, we're open every Thursday, 10 a.m. UK. And then the recording is available, so you get to watch this as well. One thing as well, what Ben explained is very powerful, and I couldn't agree more. There is also one thing, when you're going to be sharing a story, I don't know if you remember how you felt, and I'm sure you do, when Ben shared his story. And there was a moment in which, I went from laughing when he said it was his dad. And right before that, I was just, wow, beginning to feel like sad at that point. And then he took us out. He was there.
Yeah.
It was at that point, through that emotional roller coaster. So that story, it is important that it resonates with you, that is close to you, not just telling a story for the sake of it, because I know it's going to land or not. It has to be, that deeper connection happens when you experience what Ben did. So that's also very important.
And I like how he paused, and he made that direct, like I really felt it, so you felt the story very powerful, and you felt really connected. And I also, lost my dad years ago. So it really, really, really touched me, so I really, it was really good. The story, strong, powerful, the message was there.
Amazing. And also remember, even because it resonated with me very much, because my dad, luckily, our dad is still alive. But then it made me think, wow, how many times am I saying to my dad, I love you? Because I know his moment will come. So from a story, that's the beauty of a story as well. Each people within the audience will take their own bits of knowledge, or their takeaways. It's going to be unique to each person, as opposed to just telling you this is what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Well, keep on coming to the show. Connect with Ben now. This is the next question. Ben, brother, love you to bits, and I'm glad that I'm going to be meeting you. We're going to be eating some Venezuelan food in January. Is that still the case, or you're going to just stood me up?
I've never stood you up. You know that.
I'm playing the victim here.
Woe is me.
And Ben, bro, well, thank you so much for an incredible session. The next question is, where do people find you? That's one thing. How do they connect with you? And also, do you have anything you would like to give to the community, as in like a download or something? If you send it to us, then we can add it to the email that we're going to be sending this Saturday, in case you've got a document or something, or a download, whatever that might be. If you do, or a video, one of the videos that you shared today, whatever, send it to us. You can also highlight it here. Over to you. How do we connect? How do they connect? I know how to connect. And
Sounds
over
good.
to you.
So best way to connect is just, type in my name on Google, Ben Ivey, Ivey. I'm not a plant. So if you type that in, you'll get my website. So if you go to Ben and then -ivey.com, that's my website. And you can obviously check out things on there. You can drop me a message on LinkedIn or Instagram. There's loads of ways to connect nowadays. Some of my channels are managed by my VAs, but if you message me, they will let me know. Because it's not on outreach, so that you're in inbound marketing. So that's all good. We will connect with you with any questions that you have. So feel free to ping me. With regards to downloads and things like that, I did create different business models for coaches and speakers. So just 9 proven business models that I find are pretty effective. It's quite good just to see other things that are out there. I found that was quite helpful. So I'm happy to ping you guys that PDF, and you can give it as a download. With regards to today and things that I think are relevant, there are different videos that you can look at on YouTube of preparing for talks and things like that. So I recommend checking that out. I'm more than happy to ping you guys the TED Talk, or how I prepared and things like that. I don't have much on looking and speaking and looking and creating those. So to be honest, that's the content that I've covered today. But what I will say is that if you have any questions on that, you're more than happy to message myself, and obviously Jose and Aman as well, because they're great with the speak to sell and things like that. And that's pretty much everything. Now, I'm an open book. Feel free to ping me a message. I'm more than happy to help you in any way I can.
Amazing. Fantastic, Ben. Thank you very much for that. And just so you know, Haifa and everyone else here listening or watching this on replay, this is going to be available forever, or as long as Facebook lives, on the Facebook community, on the group. And there are also loads. There is a guide. Well, we are adding them to the guide section, and there is a guide section on speaking tips as well, and how to prepare as well. And there are different things that we're posting weekly. So benefit from all of those resources available. Of course, connect with Ben. And have you got anything else to say? Big thank you, Ben. It's been a pleasure, brother. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for joining the Speak to Sell Yourself and Your Business show every Thursday, and take action. Don't come to us next week to say that the content was incredible and you haven't done anything with it, because then I will come after you, and Ben as well, and maybe Herman, and we'll smack you kindly. We want you to take action. We want you to make it happen. Goodbye, everybody. I'm going to start recording now. Woohoo!